And in a few hours, 115 cardinals, all aged below 80, will convene at the Sistine Chapel to elect the successor of Pope Benedict XVI. Tonight, we are joined again on NewsLife to inform us and educate us on how the process will unfold until such a time the next Pope will be elected. Father Francis Lucas, Executive Secretary of the Episcopal Mission for Media of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines. Good evening, Father.
Good evening.
Father, it's been a rewarding experience for us to inform our people on the quest for the papacy. Looking back at what happened before the conclave, what were the significant events that took place? And was there lobbying done, or is it only the media who was determining who will be the next pope?
The lobbying, you cannot avoid that, especially these days that media is so ubiquitous everywhere. But then the predictions oftentimes come from the analysts, coming from the media.
Father, what happens when the cardinals enter the Sistine Chapel? Who is in control of the proceedings?
Well, actually, the Carmelengo is there and the Dean of the College of Cardinals. And they will be the one to facilitate initially. Then afterwards, it will go on its own. Its cardinal will vote in secret, and they're even advised not to show their handwriting while they are voting.
Father, looking at the numbers, which country has the most number of cardinals, and will this have a lot of weight during the voting?
Well, it's the Italians still who has the greatest number of cardinals who are members of the conclave. But maybe this time it will not really be sufficient for them to overpower the voting. Anyway, the point is everybody now is praying so that the right pope will be elected. Actually, it's not a matter of your color. It's not a matter of what race you come from or the country you're representing, because once you become a cardinal, once you become the Supreme Pontiff, you are serving the whole Catholic Church.
Father, it seems that there's really no clear front runner to be elected the next pope. What is your take on this?
Well, that's what media is talking about, but we do not know what the cardinals have decided. Is there a consensus? We really don't know this, because there is the media has been was not given sufficient information in the past days, because that is one of the greatest value of the conclave, that you keep it in secret.
Father, just for the education of our viewers, why is the voting done in secret, and why is the task left at the hands of the cardinals?
Well, first, it's done in secret because of the experiences we have had in the former conclaves, or even before the conclave was effected. Because, you know, the lobbying, and before, even kings and princes and emperors, they influence the voting of the popes and the election of a pope. And this has happened in the Dark Ages and in the Middle Ages. So as the history of the Catholic Church evolved, rules were set out.
Father, how does the voting take place, and who collects the counts of the votes?
Well, there are, after they do go through an oath or pledge, the cardinals, that will happen before the actual voting, they will choose 9 names. 3, we call them the scrutineers, and another 3, the infirmary. That means for the sick. And 3rd is the revisers. 9 names are very important, but the first 3 is the most important. The first 3 will take care of mixing the ballots, counting the ballots, and transferring that to another urn. And then the first scrutiny will open the ballot, read it, but not orally, and then list it. And then the second one does the same, and the third one orally proclaims whose vote that is. And they again tally that, and all the cardinals, of course, they started writing on their own. After that, well, first you have to count the ballots and the voters, the electors. If that jibes, then you go on with the reading and the counting. After that, if you reach, the third scrutineer will put the ballots and through a needle and a string so that all the ballots will be there and they'll tie it. So in case that there is no two-third majority for a certain balloting, immediately a second balloting will accept tonight. No, the first balloting for tonight
Father,
in Rome, in Vatican.
Father, during this process, can the cardinals discuss among themselves, or are they kept quiet and just make that vote?
When they start voting, they're very quiet, very solemn, because that's how things should be done. But then, based on the rules, the Apostolic Constitution, after 3 days of balloting and there's no two-third majority, they're advised to stop the balloting. They pray, they discuss, the term used is discuss, or talk about it informally. And then also, one of the cardinals will give them an inspirational talk to explain again the importance and the responsibility of voting. And then you go again.
So it's just a continual process.
Continuous
Father,
process. Every 7 ballotings.
Father, there are 115 cards. Magic number is 77.
Yes.
Do you think it will happen on the first vote?
Well, I doubt, because the first voting, oftentimes that's how you fill the water to really come up with names. But if that happens, then wow, it's really a wow. That immediately somebody gets 77 votes. That means somehow during the preparatory stages of the conclave, before the conclave, somehow the cardinals, electors, have been inspired of just one person.
So basically they've already made their choice.
At the time, yes. And there's a consensus.
Father, once the process is done and the Pope is elected, what is the next process? What is the ceremony that follows after the new Pope is elected?
Actually, once a certain person wins and gets 2/3 of the votes, he is asked if he accepts it. If the person accepts it, usually he does that because he's there. Then the white smoke will come out of the chimney. And then he's, they call it the room of tears. Maybe that's joy or whatever. And then he changes his clothes. And then the process starts of he will pray in the chapel before going to the loggia, the place in the basilica where he's proclaimed Habemus Papam.
So, Father, during the voting, if they come out with a vote for a particular Pope, he's not obliged to accept it, and if not, they go to the process again?
That's why it's being asked, because he's free to accept it or not to accept it. But usually, of course, how will you not accept it when you were there? You're prepared for this.
Has there been an instance that one who has been elected actually said no?
Historically, I have not heard that a certain Pope rejected his being elected as Pope. Actually, it's the reverse. There are 3 popes vying for the position after an election. So it's actually the reverse.
Father, looking back at the voting, how does every cardinal seek the guidance of the Holy Spirit, and what exactly does each cardinal pray for before they make the choice?
There are a lot of prayers that they do personally and communally. And also they have the Mass, they have the meditation, they have the Divine Office, and they also get 2 meditations, as I told you earlier. During the College of Cardinal meetings, as preparatory to the conclave, they already had one from Father Cantalamessa. And then this time, maybe by this time, they already are having the second meditation given by a cardinal. So, and also, it's very prayerful and very solemn. Just if you're watching the Mass, if you're there, you feel as if, you're like in a place that is so peaceful, so quiet, so divine. So that's why they have the Gregorian chant and the prayers. And we have also to watch out on the symbols, especially the color of what the cardinals are wearing. That symbolizes the blood of the martyrs. In 62 AD with Nero, there were so many martyrs that shed their blood because of their faith. And that is what is very important in this election.
And the final word, Father, to our people as we go through this very holy process.
This is a very serious, in the sense of divine process, although humans are doing this. And what we have to really be challenged with is, our faith and the faith of these cardinals and the faith of the church, which in many parts of the world is in crisis. That's why we get all these so many scandals and violence in our lives. So let's go back to our faith and then pray for the cardinals to choose the right person to lead us in the Catholic Church.
Okay, on that note, thank you very much for joining us tonight on NewsLife. That was Father Francis Lucas, Executive Secretary of the Episcopal Commission of the Catholic Church.